But first, I want to go to NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin for an update on where we are with the demolition plans. So, understandably, Brian, I don't think it's a secret that the people at the university they're so exhausted by the scar of that house on campus. And it's just off campus, but it's visible on campus. But the community online is a different animal. What's happening there?
Yeah, it's interesting, Ashleigh. I don't think I've heard one expert who you have interviewed or one expert who I have interviewed who has said that they believe the house should be torn down. Everyone that we're talking to is saying the opposite. And that seems to be the consensus online, too. I mean, there's now the petition that's been started. People are really, really upset about this, and they don't understand it. They don't understand why you would tear the house down before trial. But it's interesting when you're on the ground in Moscow, and I was there last month, and this has been an ongoing issue. So I was asking students about it on campus. There is this sense in the small college town that they want the house gone. It's a painful reminder of what happened. Also, remember, Ashley, I mean, these are college kids. I mean, they want to move on with their college career. Yes, they respect the victims, and the candlelight vigil on the 1-year anniversary was packed with thousands of these kids. So, they respect the victims, but in many ways they want to move on, and there's this sense that the town wants to move on.
I'd be so curious about the students at the University of Idaho in the criminal justice program who may look at things a little differently than, say, somebody who's, in law or in politics or, commerce or something like that. So let's talk about the date. December 28th. I don't see any changes. I don't see anything from the university side of things where they're wavering like they have a couple times in the past. So the choice of that date is actually pretty clever, isn't it?
It is, and the plan does seem set in stone this time. I mean, you and I have talked about it. They've got the contractor lined up. They've got the media staging area. And the date, I mean, it sort of makes sense from their perspective. It's after Christmas. It's before New Year's. There's not a lot of people on campus during that time. I've been there around that time. And in the summer when the students are gone, I mean, it's almost like a ghost town. So it makes sense that they would want to do it then. They said it's going to take a couple of days. But in terms of timing, I went back looking through all the statements that we've gotten. And I went back to March 22nd, so 9 months ago. That was the first time I saw that we had an email that was sent to the victims' families. And I want to read you part, Ashley. It was from a lawyer at the University of Idaho who emailed the families and said, the homeowner gifted the house to the University of Idaho with the intent by both parties that it be demolished. So that was 3 months after Brian Kohberger's arrest. And they already intended to tear that house down and said that it was the opinion of the homeowner and the university who had been gifted the house. So they've wanted this house down basically since the beginning, Ashley.
I just keep going back to the, Marjory Stoneman Douglas school, where, a horrendous school shooting happened in 2018. And it was 4.5 years before the, I call it the sort of the murder or the death penalty phase in the case was played out, because the defendant pleaded guilty, so it just had to be a death penalty phase that needed a jury, which was a couple months long. But they kept that school intact. Just imagine those hallways with book bags scattered, bloodstains scattered. They did not clean up that scene. They preserved the Marjory Stoneman Douglas school scene for 4.5 years. Brian, I just found out tonight, it's still not even demolished. The demo on that school isn't scheduled until summer of 2024. Another 6 months. Yeah. So you think about that case, and he pleaded. It was just a death penalty phase they needed to deal with there.
That school, Ashley, by the way, that building is in the middle of the school campus there in Parkland, Florida. So there are kids that had to walk around that building every single day. Remember, this house is to the side of the campus. It's not right in the middle of the campus. And in Parkland, they put these beautiful banners of the victims up, a big fence and beautiful banners of the victims. So when the kids walked around, they saw their beautiful faces. I don't understand why that hasn't been brought up in Idaho. I mean, they haven't put a big fence around the house or tried to block off view.
Maybe honestly, maybe the looky-loo part of it, where they have crime tourists, which maybe at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, because it was a school shooting, maybe there wouldn't have been as many. I'm not sure. But one really quick question, and I'll have to wrap it, and that is that, is there anything left, any Hail Mary pass that anybody can present to put this demolition off?
Well, I've been talking to sources about that question, and there's one thing that I've come up with. It's called a civil action. It's possible that someone, perhaps the victim's family member, could file a civil lawsuit against the University of Idaho, and then as part of that lawsuit, ask for an injunction claiming that the house is potentially evidence. And if they do that, it is possible that they could keep the house standing. It's a big if. Also, it would be very expensive. I mean, I'm talking $100,000, maybe more, for a massive lawsuit. And remember, you're up against the University of Idaho, a ton of connections in that town, political connections. So it's a big if, but that is one possibility.
Well, that's a good point. Brian Entin, appreciate that. Thank you so much. We'll continue to watch. As we said, the countdown is on right day. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.